Welcome to Agree to Disagree, the podcast where two sisters show how you can disagree about everything but still keep that family bond and friendship.
That's right. We're Sharon and Karen, and we don't just see the world differently, we live it differently. Grab a coffee, settle in, and enjoy the conversation. Who knows? You might even find yourself changing sides.
I'm Karen, coming at you from Morocco as usual.
I'm Sharon, coming at you from Texas, and we're going to talk about the transgender bathroom bill that's been proposed in, I think, 4 or 5 states in the U.S.
Has it been proposed or has it been passed? I think it's been passed in a few.
It may have been passed in a couple of them. Texas is not one of them, though. Thank goodness.
So the question is, should transgenders be forced to use the bathroom per their sex assigned at birth? Where do you stand on that? Do you answer yes or no to that question?
If we answer yes or no, then there's no podcast.
To start, should transgenders be forced to use the bathroom per their assigned sex at birth?
I think that we can have, and I've seen it in some restaurants, just like they started 15, 20 years ago with family bathrooms, we can have family/transgender bathrooms. Or
specific bathrooms just for transgender.
We have them just for individuals with handicap and physical disabilities.
Yes.
We have them for that. Now, there's also, and I've seen this in newer construction of restaurants and public places, where there is an open area where everybody washes their hands. And then there's individual stalls for men and women and transgender and handicap and everybody. And it's all single stalls around this kind of trough, if you will, where people, I'm from Texas, so I'm going to say trough, where people wash their hands and look in the mirror and do what they need to do. So that's a really good solution.
With single stalls, but not like with doors top to bottom. You're talking about just a door that you can still, you're still talking about a separated male-female area.
No, it's not separated male-female. All the men and female are in the same area.
Okay. Well, that's what I think is
full doors.
I think a door top to bottom, I think that's the answer to all of this mess is to just have gender-neutral bathrooms. Why do we have to have men's and women's? Because no one wants to be in the bathroom with another person anyway. I mean, seriously.
Exactly.
And it's going to cost a little bit of money for people, for companies.
That's the issue.
To fix.
That's the issue. And that's what
But it's cheaper.
That's why I think people are.
You can have one bathroom every once in a while or something. So I don't understand why they're not doing that. But the question is, should transgenders be forced? Because that's what this bathroom bill is about. It's saying that transgenders are not allowed to use the bathroom that they identify as. It has to be the bathroom at their birth. So what do you think about the bill?
I know. So I think I understand where the bill came from.
Let's talk about where it came from, because I think that we're probably going to agree on why it came to this point. So where do you think it came from?
I think it came from the fact that there are a lot of old buildings that have very traditional setups for male and female, gender-specific bathrooms. And I think that because of money, or the lack of money, and the amount of cost and time it would take to make non-gender-specific, single-stalled kind of bathrooms, I think that's one reason that this bill has come along. I think another reason this bill has come along is because there are lots of parents that are very concerned about a transgendered female who still has male genitalia and has not gone through a sex change and has no desire or the money to go through a sex change, that they are in a bathroom, or even a high school, let's just say, because we're talking about kids, I'm talking about kids, that they're allowed to go into a female bathroom because they're saying they identify as a female, and then potentially have, sexual assault go on.
Okay.
It has happened in this country. Happened in this country.
Do you know what specific case? Because I have never heard of a case of sexual assault from a transgender on a child in a bathroom in the U.S.?
Oh, no. Yeah, they're out there. I mean, I don't.
I have never seen evidence of one case.
Well, you don't live in this country.
No, but I still do keep up with the news.
Yeah, but you're getting certain news. You're not seeing everything.
I'm seeing everything. I even watch Fox sometimes.
No,
Give me one instance. Give me one documented case. See if you can find even one documented case.
Okay, I'm going to go back to our previous conversation. Do you feel comfortable?
I'll come to that in a second. I'm just saying, I think that the media went way overboard in making everyone scared about something that was actually not happening. Because this is not a problem. Transgender people are not harassing kids. And number one, when do you have transgenders along in the same bathroom as kids? Where is that happening?
Because there's transgenders all throughout the schools. There's not just an adult issue. Sis.
When's the last time you went to a school? I mean, if you're talking about high school, I don't think high schoolers are going to be. Give me one instance of a high schooler that was sexually assaulted by a transgender in a high school. If you're talking about little kids, they have little bathrooms where the teachers don't go. Teachers have teachers' bathrooms, and the little kids have little kids' bathrooms.
I'm not talking about adult teachers doing this. I'm talking about kids doing this to kids. Do you know that I have a neighborhood kid, okay, when she was in junior high and middle school, she would come home and talk about how all these kids were, identifying as the opposite sex, or they were identifying as a dog or a cat, and they were on the floor licking up, their lunch and saying, "I'm a cat today."
That's a different conversation. And I do agree that that's ridiculous.
So now we're going back to the bill. The amount of money it would cost to change all these bathrooms to non-gender bathrooms and reconfigure things so that everything is single stalls and there's no separation of gender for 0.01% of the population. Now, handicap, that's 15% of the population, right? That's a large amount of people. But this is such a small amount of people.
Yeah, but my point...
So it goes back to cost-benefit analysis.
My point is that I feel like this bathroom bill was brought about unnecessarily. I don't disagree with it on principle. No, I would not want to walk into a bathroom with a man dressed as a woman if I could see it's obviously. And actually, I have a friend of mine in Texas who works at a company, and there's a transgender, and she had worked with this man for a long time as a man, and all of a sudden he's going by a woman's name and dressing as a woman, and he's allowed to use the women's restroom. And she's uncomfortable with it and tries to go to another floor. She'll actually look in there and see if he's in there. If he's in there, she'll go to another floor. Or if anyone's in there, she'll go to another floor. And I agree with that. I don't think she should have to do that because he's still obviously a man, just dressed as a woman, got a beard, everything. My point is, I don't see how it got to this point. I don't understand how it got to this point where this even became an issue.
For that reason right there, what you're saying.
But the company, let me finish. Because I think you're going to agree with me here. In my opinion, the Democratic Party, the left wing, took this too far to say, no, he has a right to use the women's bathroom. And so the company
100% agree with you.
And the company then has to say, you have the right to use the women's bathroom. The Democrats on a lot of these things, and this is when you're going to be very happy about this comment, the Democrats are trying to shove this down everyone's throat of you must accept this. And I think that's where the backlash came from. I do not think this bill originated because any transgender assaulted any child in any bathroom. I think this came about because it was being shoved down people's throats and they didn't like it. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't like it either.
Yeah.
But I think that the problem is that this goes back to the media is not being truthful about this because they're trying to say, oh, it's a safety issue. It's just, you're trying to shove something down our throats. And I'm going to get, from left leaning, I'm going to get hate mail but no, this is about his rights and this is how he feels. And it's like, no, but stop shoving it down my throat.
Now we're going back to a previous argument about the public good, right? The public good.
Oh, this doesn't infringe on that. To me, it doesn't infringe on the safety, a bathroom thing. This doesn't infringe on the safety. It's a comfort level, but it's not a safety issue.
I think it's a safety issue too. When you look at children that are identifying one way or the other for the sake of just doing it because they're not developmentally.
But don't you think? But don't you think in a school in 8th grade or 5th grade, these kids are going to work it out. A kid is not going to knowingly go in a bathroom that he feels uncomfortable in. If he identifies as a female,
if that kid has been sexually abused at his house, and is an abuser, he may go in there.
Oh, now you're talking about like 0.0001% of the population. There's a
lot more people that are sexually and physically abused in the world than there are transgender people.
Yeah, but what you're talking about is those that have been abused and are transgender and are going to school and are going to attack someone else. That is a very small percentage.
No. I'm not saying they're transgender. I'm saying they're transgender to set up a situation where they can abuse.
It's still a small percentage. No. I don't think, because you're talking about adults now, and the number of those people that are going to be around children, I think you're talking about a very small minority. Again, I would challenge you to come up with one case where it was documented that a transgender abused a kid in a restroom. A documented factual case.
Again, I don't think it's adults.
But this, for me, it kind of goes back to don't ask, don't tell. I mean, I think that we're making an issue out of something that wasn't an issue before. And the parties decided to make it an issue. The Democrats by shoving it down our throats, and the Republicans by saying, no, we got to have a bill. Because this bathroom bill, and honestly, who's going to enforce that? How do you enforce that?
Well, that's the other thing. You don't always know, right? I have a friend that's from the UK. When I first met him, I had no idea he was a transgender male. No idea whatsoever.
Yeah.
Until he told me that, right? So again, to your point, we're making such a big deal out of something that
wasn't a big deal. That wasn't an issue.
That wasn't a big deal and wasn't an issue.
Right.
And most transgender people don't want you to know that they are transgendered.
Yeah.
They want you to accept them the way they are right now as they're presenting themselves.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't even know, right? And yes, I agree with you. The majority of them are not abusers, blah, 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 blah. And I totally agree with you that this has all become a political issue.
Unnecessarily.
All become a political issue. Unnecessarily. Absolutely unnecessarily. Because it is such a small population that we wouldn't even know.
Right.
Unless we do know, you know? And so for your example that you gave of your friend, is it right that company has now said, yes, you can do this for the 0.01% of the company's population, and now 50% of their population are female that are feeling uncomfortable. I'm not saying 50%.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going in that same bathroom on that floor, but now they're uncomfortable.
Yeah. You know it's not. It's ridiculous. It was shoved down their throats unnecessarily. It's like, I don't understand this. And it should have been handled a different way. It should have been handled with either a group discussion. It should have been handled with him going to people and saying, hey, is there a problem with this? Is it going to make you feel uncomfortable? It should have been him realizing that, hey, it might make people uncomfortable, so I'll continue to use the men's restroom. This is not a life and death thing. Can you as a company provide me with one bathroom somewhere that I can use that is gender neutral or something? It shouldn't have been, let me shove it down your throat and you have to accept this.
Right.
So this definitely, I think you and I agree on that. It does sound like we agree on the fact that this was unnecessarily an issue that came up that shouldn't have been an issue.
That shouldn't have been an issue. And now think about the amount of money that we are spending, that these states are spending on having this bill, could have been used to create that one bathroom for a transgender.
Well, the time, the energy, and it's not enforceable. It's not enforceable. What are you going to do? Put it at you're going to have to carry your birth certificate around you to prove that you were born a female.
I know.
I mean, come on.
I know. And then you're violating their rights in a whole nother way.
Exactly. It's not
Right?
enforceable. There's nothing about it that's enforceable. I don't know how this thing is ever going to get. It just goes back to just irritation of the media for even talking about it and congressmen for even pursuing it.
It's one of those things that has left, especially the U.S. I am gonna single out the U.S. now.
Well, that's all we really know about.
Common sense. No, you know about Morocco. Common sense has not prevailed.
Well,
for the last 20 years or so. We've lost common sense.
Yes, we have.
And
well, this goes back to your comment earlier that you made before, that you think that majority of people have common sense. And I completely disagree with that. I think 80% of the population are stupid.
Well, I don't think it wasn't I probably did say common sense, but I think what my point was, because at one point I think I did say common sense, but before that, my point was, I think people do come around to seeing the value of the common good, and that they're innately good people, and they won't do something that they knowingly know will harm somebody else.
Now, this I also agree with. I think that people are innately good at heart, the majority of people. Yeah. And I think that people wouldn't, for the most part, wouldn't knowingly do something that hurts someone that they know. That's how I would clarify that. Because a lot of people right now in the U.S., I feel, are doing things to hurt people that they don't know and they don't really care about it. But if it's someone that they know, then it becomes, oh, I didn't want to hurt that person. But I think a whole lot of people right now don't really care about all the people that are getting hurt.
See, that's where I think that'll be a whole nother conversation. But I think you're saying, 50% of the country who are Republicans want to hurt people, and the other side who are Democrats don't. That's where I'm feeling like you're going with this. And I'm like,
I don't
think that.
No, I don't think it's 50-50. I think that there are some people that, because I do think right now it's just because these are the policies. And I think that the Democrats also have some policies that hurt people, and they don't necessarily care about it as well. I think, again, it's not as much party line as it is the difference of those who have and those who have not. And I think that what am I trying to say? I think some of the policies that are being implemented right now, and right now we have a Republican government.
But you know what? It's interesting because I know a lot of people that are have-nots that side with what's going on right now. And they would be they are minorities, and they would be considered as the have-nots. And they are siding with what is going on right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, is that they're siding with what's going on right now because they're not thinking about who's getting hurt, because they don't know them personally. But you said, because they don't know them personally.
They're the have-nots, but you said they're the have-nots are the ones that are getting hurt. And I'm like,
there's
several have-nots that don't feel like what's going on right now.
Yeah, and I stopped myself because I didn't know where I was going. But that's not really what I wanted to say. No, what I wanted to say was the people that are supporting these policies right now, because there are a lot of people in the country that voted for this government and that do support these policies. I think they don't realize who's going to be hurt from this, and they don't care. But I do still believe that these people are innately good at heart. And if they could stop for a minute and sit back and kind of get some of that empathy back of who's going to really suffer from this, and stop believing what they're being told, which is, no, you're suffering. You're the one that's being hurt. And these are the people that are doing it to you. And I think that's where the problem is, because they're being told he's doing this to you, therefore you don't need to care about him. And that's not really what's happening.
I don't disagree with you there. I think that I actually saw a really interesting documentary the other day about Dan Rather.
Really? Is he still alive?
Yes, he is. And it's interesting. I was watching this and I'm like, oh, he's the one who started this.
About what?
I've always been a Dan Rather fan. But he's kind of the one who started all of the opinions of our reporters. Instead of just reporting the news, now we just get the reporter's opinions.
Right.
And I feel like he kind of started it. He started this whole trend, of where we're not actually hearing the facts objectively. We're hearing everybody's opinions and which side you're on and which side you're on.
Is that what they said in the documentary? Is that he's the one where this kind of started?
No, that was my own conclusion.
Based on absolutely no evidence whatsoever. That's your conclusion.
No. If you watch the documentary, I'm going, wait a minute. Is he the one who started all of this?
Well, you just put it out there.
Like
Dan Rather. Poor Dan is going to get all this hate mail now. We're sorry, Dan.
I love you. You're a native Texan. I love you. And you're a great Christian. And I love you. I'm not a reporter, so, don't come for me. I don't think it's wrong. He went into it to what they were saying in this documentary is that he went into it to contribute somehow to the good of the country. And so this was his way of contributing. But when he would see certain things, then he felt like it was his duty to have to report on those things and shed light on those things, regardless of whether they were popular or not, that kind of stuff. And so there's a part of me that feels like, and it's a little bit of a dichotomy, right? And this is a whole nother conversation probably, but, do we need to know everything? All governments and countries have dirty laundry. And do we need to know everything all the time and have it shoved down our throats so that we can hate? I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation.
I think that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad that we talked today. And I think it was interesting.
We kind of agreed to disagree on that one. I mean, we didn't disagree.
On the bathroom?
We kind of agreed on that one. Yeah.
Well, I think we both agree that, the answer is gender neutral individual bathrooms. That's where we need to go as a country.
Yeah, it's fine. Right. But there's a lot of money that's going to cost, and it's going to take time.
It's going to take time.
Do we really need to spend that? Do we really need to spend the money on a bill?
And we both agree that the bathroom bill is ridiculous in and of itself.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because you can't enforce it.
There's
a lot of bills out there you can't enforce, though.
Yeah.
Still on the books.
Yeah.
That wraps up today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, please leave us a rating and review. It helps us improve and get the word out.
Reach out to us on Facebook and Instagram or shoot us an email at agreedtodisagree@gmail.com.
Let us know what you think, what topics you'd like us to cover, or any questions you might have. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.